the magic within. I called it the magic within because within us, we have so much wisdom, so much magic. And we won't go into this as much today, but we also can create magnetic fields with our body, which is literally magic, to be able to manifest things that we desire. That magic lies within us. We don't need to rely on anything external to have magic and to create magic in our lives. It's all within our bodies, our physical body and our energetic bodies. And to go within the body and listen to the body is related to the energies of the new moon now, because the new moon in Cancer is about connecting back with ourselves, connecting deeply with ourselves. And I'll read a couple notes I wrote that this new moon in Cancer is calling us to feel strong within our sense of self, to know our needs, and to really deeply trust ourselves. And I believe that self-trust comes from building trust in our intuition and in our emotions and in things that are sending us messages. Molly McCord says that the moon has a very feminine energy right now. Cancer is the energy of the home, of the mother, of nurturing, of caregiving. It's also related, it's ruled by the moon. So the moon's in its placement where it is naturally at home. And so it's deeply connected to intuition as well. It's connected to self-care. And another aspect that we have going on is Mars and Venus are basically conjunct each other right now in Leo, which is a masculine energy, that energy of Leo. And Molly McCord says that there's a reprogramming happening in our hearts with that energy. There's also a reprogramming in our sense of self, in what we need and want, and giving us the courage to do things on our own terms. So I thought it was a perfect time for us to be connecting with our body's wisdom about our desires and about our needs, and really tuning in to be able to hone the skill of deep listening to the body. Because we all have our ways that the body speaks to us that we may already be working with, but I believe it's a practice to continue to deepen that relationship and to continue to gain clarity within that relationship and cultivate the relationship that we have between spirit and physical body. In addition, so this is starting a new moon cycle. She says it's calling us to navigate our new life changes wisely, to listen to what we might have shut down and didn't pay attention to, which might be speaking to us through the body. So what we've shut down and are not paying attention to, or what we're trying to push away. I engage in this practice called network spinal analysis. That's a type of chiropractic that works with the nervous system, and they work a lot with emotions. And so they can even feel your body. And even today, my chiropractor was like gently pressing on a certain part of my body. And he said, okay, now feel it, like feel what it is that you're avoiding in your body. Feel into that, breathe into that place, and exhale it out. And he was coaching me to feel what I had been repressing, because it's likely we all have something that we're kind of trying not to feel. So listening to what we've shut down or what we're afraid to feel, because some things we don't want to admit. It's also bringing up, so along those same lines, things that feel vulnerable, uncertain, that we might feel protective about, or even that we might feel defensive about. But this new moon is reminding us that there's so much wisdom in our heart, and to tap into those emotions, trusting our emotions, learning to really connect with the truth that's within us. Coming home to ourself. And she said within the next week, I mean, I'm not saying it's for sure, but within the next week, there might be something new coming through, maybe a new insight coming through that you weren't aware of before. So we'll keep an eye out. Perhaps the body will have something to say tonight. So the magic within. I believe, and I have found, that when we really move our body, we connect to the core essence of who we really are. There's something about movement that awakens all of the cells, and I feel awakens our spirit too, where our true self can start to emerge once we're moving the physical body. And so I had you do the first writing prompt without doing any movement, unless you moved right before this, but without any guided movement, just to see what comes through then. And after we do a bunch of practices, we're going to see what else the body might have to say after we move and really tap in and connect. So we all have desires and things that we want, or things that we think we want. And then we have deeper soul desires that is really linked with the true wild essence of who we are, potentially linked with our soul's purpose, or what we deeply feel we are here to do or achieve or take part in this incarnation. So oftentimes, to get to the soul desires, we need to strip away the layers of societal programming that gives us all the shoulds of what we should want, what we should desire. I mean, we should all desire the traditional American dream, right? That's what you're supposed to want. And we really are programmed this way from the time that we're really young. You know, unless you grew up in a really alternative family or lifestyle that was more separated from the mainstream, which I know some people do. But for those of us who were in it, either in our families or went to our schools that were traditional or public schools or more mainstream private schools, with peers, with friends, with your neighborhood, if you were exposed to mainstream news, television, magazines, all of those things are programming our subconscious for what life looks like, because that's just what we're shown is what we see. This is what life is. And so it can take some digging and also imagination to uncover what might be my soul's true desires that maybe I haven't even seen yet or experienced yet in the world. So I believe that moving the body can help us cultivate that relationship and start to uncover and start to almost like physically shedding the layers of tension and those tight coats and jackets that are keeping us from feeling the fullest expression of our desire. So, and of course, this is tied into our intuition. So we talked about knowing our yes and knowing our no. And I feel that those are guideposts almost along the way of when opportunities are presented to us in whatever form. When we're following our yes, that brings us closer toward soul desire. And when we follow the no, that potentially could lead us off track a bit. Now, I don't want to create judgment in that, because there's learning and wisdom to be found with everything. And I certainly have been someone that has consciously chosen a no before, just because I wanted to have the experience. And there's really no judgment in that. eventually it will lead you back to your yes, because when you're experiencing your no, it gives you more information about what your yes is. So cultivating that feeling of what is my yes, what is my no. And what I'll say is sometimes it can be fuzzy. And so if there's times that it does feel fuzzy for you, know that that's normal, because our trauma, our fear, our expectations, whether they're our expectations or someone else's expectations, and the societal conditioning all play a role. And sometimes it takes some time to really weed through what is this a fear? Is this my trauma? Is this my pattern that's making me feel a certain way about something? And it's just practice over and over again, coming back and trying to practice. Does this feel like my yes? Does this feel like my no? All right, take a breath. All right, we're going to go into a little bit of movement, then into a bit of a meditation or sort of a body awareness practice where I'll have you close your eyes and feel certain things. Then we're going to come back into some movement and then come back to journaling. So have a space where you can move a little bit. Have your journal nearby. You can choose to have your camera off if you want, or you can have your camera on. I'm going to keep my camera on for the first song. And then when I go into the meditation, I'm going to shut mine off just so that there's no distraction for the next few phases of the practice.